I'm in shock that Mark Rober released this video. He is going head to head against some very powerful companies and may have just ended his entire YouTube career. Let's take a deeper dive at, can you fool a self-driving car? And there might be a little bit of camera trickery to make it appear like something happened a certain way when it really didn't. Hello and welcome to Gears and Tech. I love every month when Mark Rober releases a new video. Now, I don't watch them all, but many of them pique my interest, and the one he released very recently, Can You Fool a Self-Driving Car, has me really curious, mostly because I personally have experience with self-driving cars. I have owned a Mustang Mach-E, which has self-driving, and I've owned a Tesla Model Y, which also has self-driving. Now, personally, I know the limitations of both of these self-driving cars, but I'm curious to find out, are we going to expose some of the flaws of the car, or are we going to just try to hype up a different alternative? And I've got some questions. So I want to look at each of the scenarios that he set up. I want to talk about kind of some of the concerns that I have with those scenarios. And before we get too far into this video, no, I don't actually like my Tesla, even though I kind of like my Tesla. It's a real weird love-hate relationship, but I'm willing to accept in the comments, oh, he's just a Tesla fanboy, because maybe I am and I just don't want to admit it, okay? So let's get that out of the way right at the start.
Going 40 miles an hour towards a fake Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner painted wall. Please stop. Please stop. Holy...
Now, the first part of the video starts with him filming a whole bunch of stuff at Disneyland, which we don't care about, but then we get into this.
Real-world applications for this LiDAR technology, like every day when your phone scans your face to unlock itself, or when archaeologists use it to find lost ancient cities from the sky, or for example, in cars. And as you might have guessed, this car automatically saved itself from crashing because it uses a LiDAR sensor.
So now he's going to go on to tell you all about how this car has LiDAR sensors to try to figure out where it is in space and time. And there is no disputing, LiDAR is amazing at figuring out and mapping the surroundings around you. And it is totally immune to a lot of the limiting factors that our two eyeballs have, and therefore camera technology has. And that is, it doesn't need to be able to see anything to see anything. And here he's showing that to us. So you can see the LiDAR is kind of reflecting off of all of the objects, and then he does this really neat scenario where he gets in the car totally blacked out and uses augmented reality to drive and navigate around using just the LiDAR. It's a piece of cake under normal ideal situations. He then goes on to show us his Tesla, which uses cameras. It uses 3 cameras pointing forward and a number of other cameras looking around. But for most of the self-driving functions, it's the 3 cameras looking forward that it uses to decide what's there, what's not there. First test, very basic. Any self-driving car can easily handle this test. All we're gonna do is drive up to a kid, stop to the middle of the road, and come to a complete stop, which the LiDAR does perfectly, but which the Tesla obviously also handles quite handily, stopping with plenty of room to spare. Now he goes on to lay out another test, which is probably more realistic, which is a kid jumping out from a parked car, which happens more times than you can imagine, and it's probably a huge contributing factor to accidents in small playground areas and places where kids are just oblivious to this. Now, obviously the LiDAR car, no problem again, as long as the kid jumps out within the reaction time of the vehicle. The Tesla also, unsurprisingly, responds with plenty of time to spare. Now, if you shorten the reaction time, you could have a problem, but now they start to make it a little more interesting. They add fog effects. Now, the cool thing here is that they do show us the LiDAR view. And this is seeing through the fog. You can still see the kid, and especially you can see the shadow of the kid. So the car can positively, quite simply, easily detect that there is something there. No issues at all. So obviously, it's no surprise when the LiDAR enabled car comes to a complete stop, even for the invisible child in the fog. When we jump in the Tesla and we do the exact same test, the results are also totally unsurprising for those of you who have a self-driving car. So as the car comes up, you can see on the screen here, you can't see very well, but normally if you have a Tesla, this will tell you what it sees. So if you look on the side right here, it actually shows a person there, and that is this cameraman right here. So it is accurately detecting a human being on the side there. But if we look ahead, normally if it saw the child, you would see the child shown on the screen. The fact that it's not showing a child there means that the car has not seen anything in the way. But now I want you to use your two eyeballs and look at the screen. Do you see anything in that fog? No, you don't. And this is going to reinforce a point that we're going to make later on in the video. So remember, I don't see a child there, and the Tesla doesn't see a child there. And unsurprisingly, the Tesla runs over the fake mannequin child, which is unfortunate, but again, we'll cover this in a minute. That's not very good for the Tesla when compared to the superior LiDAR-equipped vehicle.
System would absolutely
Then we go on to a different test that's actually very similar, but this is the one I want to look at. And Mark Rober, I know you're not watching this video, but if you are, please, 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 please release the raw footage for this one, because what we're going to do, here you can see, again, the LiDAR view of the child. No problem, we see the child. When we turn the water on, the LiDAR view does not see the child, okay? So obviously when we do this test, it's going to run over the child just like the Tesla just did. Let's find out.
struggle here. Okay, here we go. And as the wall of water started, LiDAR seemed to
not
slow down at all.
Child's invisible, but the car stops. Now, surprisingly, and this is, I don't want to start debunking stuff right off the bat, but the distance that the car stopped to the child, in my opinion, I have to back it up and check this, but in my opinion, is farther back than the distance that it stopped from the child in the other tests. Now, why is that significant? In my opinion, that is significant because I do not think that the car is stopping because it saw the child here. I think it's stopping because the wall of water is actually so thick that the car didn't see through it, and it actually saw that wall of water literally as a wall. Now, the car did stop, which is great. But if we did this test in an actual rainstorm with that amount of water, consistent through the whole thing, my suspicion is the LiDAR car would have stopped a long time ago. And it would have said, it is not safe to proceed. We can't see a thing. And in that situation, you would have had to drive yourself, whether there was a kid there or not. And I think that it is seeing the wall of water, not the kid. And suspiciously, during this part of the video, he does not show us the LiDAR view at all. So if I press play, he's just going to stop. He's going to make a funny joke about a rain dance. The guy's going to do a totally unscripted, why don't I just back up? He's going to say, yeah, great idea. No shot of the LiDAR view after it stopped for the water. And I think that's because it was totally blind to that kid. Now we do the Tesla test, and obviously, this one is a little concerning for me because me as a person, I do see that kid. The camera should also be able to see that kid. I can't see the screen, so I don't know if it saw the kid, but obviously it didn't stop for that kid. So I don't know if he actually had Autopilot enabled. I don't know if he had FSD enabled. I just see a super tight shot of him running over a child. So again, I'm not questioning Mark Rober's integrity. However, the views that are presented here, we do not know what mode the Tesla's even in. And then it just runs the kid over. He could have just been driving himself and ran right over it. I find it hard to believe that it didn't see that kid there, because if your eyes can see it, the camera can see it, and usually the camera is pretty good at deciphering something that is a threat and stopping for it. That's been my experience.
Fake wall without
The next test is blinding lights shining in your face. This happens all the time. When you're driving at night, a semi-truck comes and totally just blinds you, can't see a thing. So the LiDAR saw through those lights, no issue, because it doesn't care if there's light shining in its face or not. And here we do testing it with the Tesla. Same deal, he's got sunglasses on so he doesn't blind himself. But surprisingly, it stops. It stops really close, but it does stop. Now in this scenario, I would not see that child. I would run that kid over. If I was driving, that kid jumped in front of the road and there was a semi-truck on the other side blinding me. So in this case, that kid is alive because my Tesla saw the kid that I did not see. So this is more than a +1 for the Tesla. This is a +1 for that kid. And then the final test. This is the gratuitous shot that we all know how it's going to end. I was not surprised at all. When I watched this video with my wife, I didn't know the result, but I was so certain that that Tesla was driving through that wall just because I know how those cameras are working. But as we look at the LiDAR car, it's so easy to see. LiDAR is so superior. Look at how easily it detects that wall there. So obviously it's going to pull up and stop and laugh at you for even trying such a silly little test. Now we get in the Tesla, and this is where all the debate on the internet lies. You see, we've got this wall and it's got a painted picture of the road ahead. The car absolutely will not know that that's a painted picture. He works up the courage and he eventually starts to drive.
He says, "Don't drive into a wall." Oh boy. All right, here we go. And so I steeled myself and accelerated the Tesla.
Now I'm going to back this up to talk you through this in a minute, but let's see. So here he's going to engage
an inch.
Autopilot.
The question was if the Tesla would detect it in time to step on the brakes. And it turned out, holy
and then it drives right through.
Turned out.
Now, one thing to note here, and this is what some people have said. So right here, he's driving to the wall. He doesn't actually have full self-driving mode or autopilot turned on yet. You can tell by there's no lines on the side. Then, right there, he has enabled it, but he's only about 100 feet away. I don't know how long the autopilot needs to actually fully engage. Once it's engaged, is it engaged? It's now starting to scan for its environment. But obviously, I mean, that looks like the road, even to me. So I'm not surprised that the camera is fooled. But as he gets closer, this is where everyone freaks out, right? Let's see if I can stop it. Right there. So this is him hitting the wall. You can see that autopilot has totally disengaged. This starts a whole different internet frenzy about Teslas actually disengage autopilot moments before an impact. Now, there's a number of reasons for this, and some people say this is Tesla covering their butt for a legal lawsuit. You see, if the autopilot wasn't actually in control at the moment of incident, the human behind the wheel was, and it's all your fault. And it's kind of a low blow to say half a millisecond before the moment of impact saying, you got this, take over from here, because they've set you up for an impossible scenario where there's nothing you can do. But as a new Tesla owner, I have had to fight autopilot a few times because the car was doing something I didn't think it should be doing. And I can tell you, if you grab the wheel and start trying to make it not switch a lane or to stay where it is or whatever, it's actually quite hard to do. And so in a scenario where you want to be trying to take over the control, it makes sense that the Tesla should just stop applying all of its driving functions to let you turn the wheel, to let you push the brake, and have a chance at maybe fixing it somehow. But that, I don't want to get too far into trying to support the Tesla. This test proves nothing in that I don't know how many times I have come across a wall with the road painted on it and I was driving towards it ever in my life. So this just puts to bed the debate on would the car see it or would it not see it. And obviously the car did not see it and it drove right through. Now this is a great time to talk about the difference between self-driving levels. You see, self-driving isn't just a you have it or you don't. There's actually different classification levels of what it can or cannot do and what it should or should not be able to do. And those are rated on a 0 to 5 scale. So essentially there are 6 levels. 0 obviously is no self-driving at all. Is no self-driving at all. The driver is fully responsible for the control of the vehicle. Next we move to level 1. Level 1 is that the vehicle can assist with either steering or acceleration and deceleration, but not simultaneously. This would be like your adaptive cruise control or your lane keeping assist. They don't call it self-driving, even though it might feel like it, because it will keep you in your lane and it will slow down and speed up, but not at the same time. Level 2 is Partial automation. This is where the vehicle can control both steering, acceleration, and braking, but the driver must always remain attentive and ready to take over at any point. It is worth noting that this is the current level that the Tesla full self-driving is rated for. So they expect you to be able to take over the wheel at any moment. So that test where we ran over that kid through the rain, I saw the kid through the rain. I should have been paying attention. I am expected to hit the brakes and stop before it runs over that kid. The car is actually not expected to stop in that scenario. Same with the fog. It's not expected to stop in that scenario. So we can't say Tesla's bad because it didn't stop, and this overpriced Lexus is really great because it did stop. Let's move on to the next level. Level 3, conditional automation. The vehicle can handle most driving tasks in specific conditions, but the driver must still be ready to take over when the system requests it. Now, this is the level that Tesla is trying to achieve using their camera system without LiDAR, okay? But let's move up to the next level. Level 4, high automation. The vehicle can handle most driving tasks in most situations, and the driver is not required to monitor the vehicle or take over. Now, this is your LiDAR-equipped, fully automated self-driving car, the one that's featured in the Mark Rober video. So now we start to get a sense for the unfair playing field. Let's quickly cover level 5, and then I'll move back to my point. Level 5, full automation. The vehicle can handle all driving tasks in all conditions without any human intervention. The comparison of a vehicle that is equipped for pretty much complete control of itself without a human intervention versus a level 2 full self-driving car. It's unfortunate that Tesla calls it FSD, full self-driving, because it's actually not full self-driving. But Tesla, a number of years, made the decision to run their self-driving with just cameras. And the reason that they say that this can be done is human beings have 2 eyeballs, and we use the meat between our eyeballs to make decisions based on our judgment to how to handle each scenario. If our eyeballs and our ears, obviously, are a suitable means to pilot a vehicle down a highway, down side roads and whatever, and accept that risk associated with it, then why couldn't a car with 8 cameras, 3 of them looking forward, and a supercomputer for a brain that can think way faster than most of us, why isn't that suitable for at least the bare minimum driving level required to be at least as good as most of us? And I can confirm that my Tesla drives better than most drivers that I've been with. It's kind of like driving with a learner. So when you're driving with someone who's got their learner's license, you trust them and they're making good choices, but you're always just sitting there in the passenger seat ready to grab that wheel and yank it or to pull up the e-brake because you don't fully trust them. That's kind of the approach to Tesla Level 2 FSD, because you have to be ready to grab that wheel. You have to be ready to push those brakes, and it is expected of you. So to put a self-driving level 2 car against a level 4 car is kind of like putting a Ferrari up against a Honda Civic in a drag race and saying, why couldn't the Honda Civic keep up? The Ferrari's just so much faster. Geez, that Civic really sucks. But that's because we're asking the Civic to do something it wasn't designed to do. And if you want something that goes fast, that Ferrari is ready to go, but it comes at a cost. And this full self-driving level 4 car is not as cheap as a Tesla. It's not even on the market yet. The ones that are on the market are expensive. The technology just hasn't gotten cheap enough. So this has been a long video to say I appreciate what Mark Rober is doing. I am suspect of some of the results because I don't think that a fair shot was given, and there might be a little bit of camera trickery to make it appear like something happened a certain way when it really didn't. Now I want to know what you guys think. This has been dissected and discussed by so many different people. I'm just one little YouTuber. What do I know? But join the conversation, post in the comments down below, and if through all that you are considering buying yourself a Tesla, since I have one, I do have a referral code. You can save a little bit of money buying your Tesla, and it gives me a little bit of perks so that I can unlock fast acceleration. That's what I want to unlock, the faster acceleration on this car. So you guys can help me out and I'll help you out. So I'll put a link down below to where that code is. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.